no agreement he will make with you, he will not spend another 8 years. So, you just extended the lifespan of the rotation to the south by another 4 years. So why don't we, what has Bola Tinubu done? Let's come to terms with this. What has Bola Tinubu done? Bola Tinubu has come with very serious reforms, that will take the country away from, the situation in which it had been undergoing for the past 8 to 10 years. I will say it here on public television. This is the truth. This government has not been able to articulate this position, but those of us who are watching from the outside, we can see it. As of the time that the Bola Tinubu administration was coming into power, the country was finished, was socially, economically finished. We were spending 98% of our revenue, 98 cents on every dollar was being used to, for debt servicing. We were subsidizing fuel, we were subsidizing power, we were subsidizing virtually everything. There was there was very severe and serious arbitrage in the foreign exchange market. Now, so what did the Buhari administration do? They just went ahead and printed and continued to print money until they printed up to 30 trillion. So Nigerians did not feel it because it was, the money was still being available, although it was not backed by anything. There are a few countries that have done this in the past. So it's not a matter of Nigeria is rich. Venezuela is extremely, one of the largest reservoirs of crude oil in the world. The poverty in Venezuela is worse than here. And I will show you something. This is Zimbabwe. This is Zimbabwe dollar. On this paper, or on this currency, is $100 trillion. Zimbabwe dollar, 100 trillion. It is probably worth about $15, $16, or $17. It will not buy in Zimbabwe 2 live fowls. Now, this is what Bola Tinubu has saved Nigeria from. If Bola Tinubu wanted to be popular and wanted to be, for him to be sang and all that, he would just go back and continue what was being done before, continue to print money until, God forbid, we approach this level. And, I have had people complain, which is legitimate, that dollar is 1,700. It could have been worse. It could have been 17,000. That fuel is 1,000. It could have been worse. It could have been 3,000 or 4,000 per liter if these reforms had not been in place and has checked the escalating hyperinflation in which we entered into after Bola Tinubu's administration. It is wholesomely unfair.
Right.
And I'm almost tempted to say wicked for anybody to judge this administration after 18 months.
Well, can I say this?
Go and check the history.
Nuisance, Lele.
I swear, you see, this is the problem too. There's no economic facts to what he's saying, all right? But because he's been a spokesperson for president before, that's his job, all right? So it could just bring instances of bad situation, right? To present what is to create a scenario. There are some of you will just be like, really? Oh, okay. Thank God though. And it's so unfortunate that somebody like that is being given the airspace or the airtime to actually, talk to millions of people, to spread this level of lies and propaganda. And then praise Tinubu for it. Okay, to say, man, you don't know what this guy has done for you. If not, your naira would have become 17,000 naira to $1. Or you don't know what he has done for you. A liter of petroleum would have been 4,000 naira per liter. There is no economic facts to that. So presently, Tinubu and his gang claimed, right, to have removed subsidy, which is the reason why you are paying more for the same product today. But at the back end, the reason why they said they removed it is because of the forex scarcity. Because to bring fuel to Nigeria, you need a lot of forex. Like Nigeria is oil producing country that is selling its crude oil and should be earning a lot of dollars from that. But from the days of Bokwari, NNPC, under this APC, NNPC have become so endemically corrupt that Nigerians can't even say how much the country is making from crude oil or how much is being remitted to the Nigerian cover. And the same tradition has continued under Tinubu, to the point that oil-producing country that was supposed to be selling 1.5 million barrels of crude oil every day cannot boast of $500 million cash in their own vaults at the central bank. That when they go out to borrow money, the moment the money is given to them, it is stolen again and it leaves the country. Nigeria is still funding in the last 4 months alone. Nigeria spent 7.7 trillion naira servicing debts of Nigeria. He spoke about printing money. Under Tinubu, they have printed, in their ways and means, they have printed over 22 trillion naira in 18 months. He said that Bokwari printed 30 trillion. Well, he printed 27.5 trillion naira. So, and it's like ways and means. So those of you who know that, right? This is supposed to be the money loaned to the government by the central bank of the country. And it's not supposed to be printed. It's not supposed to be some money that the central bank ordinarily probably have in savings. The money made from crude sales was supposed to be deposited in the central bank of the country. But Nigeria's central bank has no dollars, despite selling crude oil. Now, under Bokwari, Nigeria was losing over 700,000 barrels of crude oil for straight 6 years. A criminal act that was so covered, they covered it up until when maybe those who were selling it were no longer in power. And then, the crude oil is not massively stolen anymore, but still being stolen. So now that you are not stealing, which means the money should be coming straight to you and not to the pocket of those who are stealing the crude oil. That should be an improvement, right? That the central bank of the country should have enough dollars. We did the mathematics on this platform a while back. Nigeria was supposed to be making at least $1.5 billion every month. At least. It's very peanut, is paltry, but Nigeria was supposed to be making over $18 billion yearly. So it took Bokwari 8 years to print 27.5 trillion. Their law says, if you have any budget deficits, the central bank will borrow you 5% of the value of your budget. So Bokwari printed and borrowed more than the percentage allowed by their law. He broke the law. Today he is not in jail. Now, the law that Bokwari broke for 8 years, Tinubu has broken that like 3 times in 18 months. First, he lied of paying off the 30 trillion naira debt that Bokwari, which is the 27.5 trillion that Bokwari printed, that nobody can say what they used the money for. Nobody. The value of that 27.5 trillion naira printed by Bokwari was $50 billion. Nobody can say what happened to the money right now. Now, in the last 18 months, Tinubu has printed over 22 trillion naira, which means the central bank's ways and means, they've given Tinubu over 22 trillion naira printed money. And that has contributed further to the hyperinflation in Nigeria. Do you Okupe is aware of that? In the space of 18 months, Nigeria have spent over 14 trillion naira. If you convert the money to naira, 14 trillion naira servicing debt. Just last 4 months, this past 4 months alone, they've spent 7.7 trillion naira to service Nigeria debt. Nigeria debt has jumped from $105 billion to over $150 billion right now, local and foreign. Tinubu has borrowed, if you put the yearly ratio of what Buhari borrowed in 8 years, Tinubu has borrowed nearly half of that in 18 months. Because there's no investor, there's nobody bringing any money in. The central bank is giving him, they are printing and handing money cash to him. They are not questioning the same NNPC of, okay, come, where is the crude oil money that you are selling? They are not. Because the old diversion is not being done by Buhari anymore. It's not being done by Tinubu and his gang. They are hiding all of that from you. If they had become honest for just 6 months alone, 6 months, to deliver what they are selling, I mean, the money they are making from crude oil, if they are honest for just 6 months, right, Nigeria's deficit budget will become history. You won't have any deficit. But doing Okupe is talking about Venezuela and all of that. So it's talking about Zimbabwe. But Nigeria is not far from that. Venezuela didn't just wake up in 2 years, in 5 years to arrive at where they are. It took them more than 20 years to arrive at where they are. And Nigeria is headed for that too. But the likes of doing Okupe and co, they will be there to make you feel like they are doing you a favor. Tinubu and gang lied. This same NNPC guy, this Melekiyari guy, they lied that Nigeria is currently producing 1.8 million barrels, and they will soon be producing 2 million barrels of crude oil every day. But that's a lie. The official figure that is actually, even in with their own agency in that country, came out and they said, well, we are not producing 1.8 million. The official figure is 1.48 million, which is 1,480 something thousand barrels of crude oil every day. But where is the money? At 1.5, at 1.8, where is the money? Nigeria is not paying back debt too. Nigeria is servicing debts. So you have revenue. This is the revenue. When they talk about revenue to debt and what have you, right? It's like you are making 100 naira, but you are using 95 naira to service your debt. It is still the same thing. Even though they release a fake data that says, oh, they are not using that anymore, they're now using 63% of their revenue to service debt, which is a lie. Everything they tell you is a lie. Once you begin to question it, once you begin to kind of scrutinize it, they will turn it into a fight. They will say you are enemy of progress. What progress? Which of the progress are you talking about? Is that the backward progress or what? They plan to generate, this is demo. They claim that, listen to this one. They claim that their plan this year, 2024, was to generate 19 trillion, which includes money from the customs, immigration, and all these places, including their taxes they will take from you. And according to their FIRS guy, Zach, what's that? Adidiji, what's that guy's name? The Nigerian customs alone, they have generated about 15 trillion in this 2024. And from all taxes, Adidiji said, as of September, they've generated more than 20 trillion, which means they've generated more than what they expected, which is also a lie. However, they are rolling out all these figures from removing subsidy, what they have saved from removing subsidy, instead they've saved $20 billion. But they say no, it's an audio savings, which is that instead of us spending $20 billion to borrow $20 billion and use that for fuel subsidy. So we didn't borrow. Then, but hang on, the NNPC has been using the Nigeria's crude oil money to subsidize the imported fuel to Nigeria. So now that you are not paying subsidy, which means this is not you borrowing money. If NNPC claim that they are spending about $1 billion about $4 billion or thereabout to subsidize fuel. So, which means if they are not subsidizing anymore, where is the $4 billion? Forget about $20 billion saved. Okay, the audio savings. Normal. The lies they've told people. The reason why they had to remove subsidy was because the money made from crude oil was being used to subsidize imported fuel. So now let's agree that they are not paying that anymore. Where is that $4 billion? It's nowhere. Because they have changed the name from a fuel subsidy to dollar subsidy, where their friends, importers, Oando, Tinubu and Co., they are being given dollars, for example, because you need dollars to import everything to Nigeria. So while the rest of you are buying a dollar for 1,700, they are subsidizing it for those ones. So why are you not benefiting from that subsidized dollars for the marketers, importers? Do you see all the old mess, the old scam and the rest? So if the likes of Edonyo Okupe think he's talking to dunces like the APC, Abubakus, no wahala. When they tell you that you are going to feel the impact of their reform, just tell them that you are already feeling it. You're already feeding parts from their lies, the propagandas and the rest. You just don't know. Because that's exactly what is going on. They are feeding you with lies upon lies. They are creating scenarios that will kind of make you feel like it could have been worse when you're actually living in the worst situation. If you said you are planning to generate 19 trillion and you've already used over 15 trillion to service debts in the last 1 year. About yourself, do the math now. What is now left? What is that ratio? Is it different from what Bukwari was doing? They are still taking loans. They are still devaluing your currency. The whole crashing of Nigerian naira will continue. One of the things that could possibly save you, if they are honest, is this Port Harcourt refinery. It should have actually started with Dangote refinery. The same people who told you that they will be supplying crude oil to Dangote in naira to strengthen Nigerian naira, so that anybody who wants to bring fuel to Nigeria should go and look for their dollars elsewhere. Nigeria won't give them dollars anymore. But the same Nigeria processed nearly $1 billion just this month to bring in 927 million liters of petroleum to Nigeria. So if they sold you lies and you feed fat on it, you will go get kwachoko. You can call me enemy of progress, enemy of Nigeria. You are not progressing. So therefore, I am not enemy of any of your progress. You are just the enemies of yourselves. For those of you who are believing their lies. Because you can believe all their lies. There is no amount of there's no how much of these lies you believe that will eventually turn to truth. It won't turn to any truth. You are just going to continue to hope that maybe this thing is going to turn to truth. It won't. They are printing money. They are borrowing money. You don't even know what they are using it for. They are cooking figures. Nigeria economy grows by 4%. You don't understand what it means to say economy is growing. Do you even understand that as a typical Nigerian? Do you understand what it means? It means that your electricity is now stable. You have more manufacturing going on. Cost of doing business in Nigeria has reduced. They are putting together tax reform. The tax reform is just to further take from you, not to give back to you. So if you are looking for enemies of Nigeria, well, look in the mirror. Those of you who are supporting these criminals, you are the real enemies of yourselves. You did it for Bokwari for 8 years. I know the tire say self-sabotaging, supporting criminals who are milking you, drinking your blood is never in your own interest. So the likes of Okupe and Co can always run their, their propaganda, and they can run it again and again and again and believe in it as well as they want, but it will never make it a truth, ever. And I did say that, and I'll keep saying it. Personally, I actually do want I do want some of these things to be true, because if one of them is true, there's no amount of what Mayegun says that will change that. You will feel it. Every day you are seeing your currency losing its value. And the more it's losing its value, the more people who are actually doing businesses, they are struggling, they are suffering to stay afloat. So imagine if this relief is actually a real relief. Do you know how many lives it's going to change? Do you know how many businesses it will save? So you can call people names, you can, make up things. When you feed fats from their lies, you will come back here and drink the water of truth. You will drink it eventually. Your economy is growing. How? Where? Agriculture, really? So how come you are still having this food inflation? That is obvious that you can't even feed yourselves. A country that has this massive land of growing food, you can't feed yourselves. What does that tell you? You can't afford anything. Basic things you can't afford. But you think feeding fat from their lies, it will be enough. Or telling yourselves that they are working, they are trying. Some of you are even blaming yourself. I remember when they would say, must you eat rice? A bag of rice is not, must you eat rice? Why don't you eat something else? That's what they say. It's unfortunate. You can't really fight for people who are very much happy in their chains. My own is to point it out. If we wake up tomorrow, I want to see things that you can say, okay, you know what? Mayegun, it takes time. We agree. To change from something to something takes time. But these ones are digging you deeper into the worst economic, what do you call it, that you can never, ever experience in your life. They are digging you deeper, digging you further into the pit, into the hole. But they are making you feel like, no, it's not that bad. They are not investing in your security, per se. They are not investing in your agriculture. They are not investing in your manufacturing. They are not investing in your power sector. They are not investing in the real things. They are not investing in your education. But they want you to believe that, no, we are, things are happening. How? In your head. That's why they could put up a show on a refinery that is meant to be sorting diesel. If the Port Harcourt refinery is indeed completed, there's a segment that's supposed to be processing petroleum, then transfer the rest to this diesel plant. But they took everybody to the diesel plant and told them that this is the PMS plant. So what happened to the diesel? They just threw away the rest of the crude oil. Because, crude oil can give you up to 700 different products, a lot of stuff, right? But the first 3, petrol, PMS, diesel, AGO, Jet 1, aviation fuel, kerosene. But you don't care about them, Abi, since they are